Hey everybody, my name is Ryan Eldridge and I'm part of the young adult class here at Washington Street. Today is Tuesday, May the 12th, 2020, and it's my honor to bring a little word of encouragement today as we continue to press through this difficult time. I really appreciated all of those who have taken the time to do these lessons already. I know for me personally, it has been really encouraging to me and made me feel very connected to our church family, even though we can't be with each other in person. And so I hope I can bring a little bit of some kind of encouragement today. So I've known I was going to do this lesson for a few weeks now, and as I tried to decide what I wanted to talk about, there was one story that I just couldn't get out of my head. And that story is found in the Old Testament in 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 8 through 23. If you'd like to pause the video now to have a chance to read that passage before I continue, now is the time to do that. Again, that passage is found in 2 Kings 6, 8 through 23. So to set up the context a little bit of this passage, Syria and Israel are at war, and every time that the king of Syria makes a move against the Israelites always seem to be one step ahead of them. They always seem to have a counter to whatever Syria throws at them. And naturally, of course, the king of Syria gets really frustrated by this, and so he calls together all of his servants, and he gets them in a room and he says, "Which of you is the spy? Which of you is with the king of Israel telling him our plans before we make anything happen?" And they say to him, "It's not one of us, it's the prophet Elisha. There's something special about him. He knows every word you're going to say, every plan you're going to make, and he tells it to the king of Israel. Elisha is the guy that you need to worry about." And this was true. The Lord had blessed Elisha with this gift, and he had used this gift to help the Israelites. So the king of Syria now has his target, and he finds out that Elisha is currently in the city of Dothan. So with this information, the king sends out a great army. The king of Syria sends out a great army. Soldiers, chariots, horses, you name it. They come in at night, and they completely surround the city of Dothan. So now we get to the part of the story that I really want to focus on today. Elisha's his servant, he wakes up early in the morning, and he walks out, and he sees the enemy completely surrounding the city. He panics, and he's terrified. He looks all around him and sees no hope, nothing but the enemy. And as he tries to look for anything to cling to, he's overwhelmed. He runs inside and gets Elisha and brings him out, and he shows Elisha all that he's seen. And I can imagine him saying, with a panic in his voice, "Master, what shall we do?" He's terrified, he's confused, and he has nowhere to turn. And I love what Elisha says. Elisha just simply tells his servant, "Do not be afraid, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them." And Elisha prayed to the Lord that he would open the eyes of the servant, that he may see. And then all at once, the servant could look up in the mountains and see all around them were horses and chariots of fire around Elisha. He couldn't see them before, but they were always there, and this was an army that was not going to lose. And so as the Syrians charged ahead to overtake Elisha prayed that the Syrians would be struck with blindness, and ultimately Elisha and the servant make it out perfectly safe and perfectly fine. And so, as I'm sure you can probably guess, I want to focus on the servant in this passage. This is a guy who has been with Elisha for some time, and he has seen some amazing things. He has seen the power of God daily, and he has been around a very prayerful and caring master and friend in Elisha. He's had an abundance of opportunities to strengthen his faith. We also have to remember about this guy is, like us, he is human. I can remember when I was a kid learning about this story, it was really easy to ridicule the servant. Why couldn't he just figure it out? Why was he afraid? What was wrong with him? He'd seen so many amazing things. Why couldn't he just grasp that everything was going to be okay? And I think it was so easy for us to look at it and ridicule and look at him that way because we know how the story ends. We can read just a few verses of text and we find out that everything turns out okay. But as I've gotten a little bit older, the servant has started to make more and more sense to me. Life is full of fear, it's full of uncertainty, and it's full of things that can overwhelm us. At this time in our world, we look around and we see something that feels pretty overwhelming. No matter who you get your information or facts from, the truth is no one knows what's going to happen in our country and our world in the coming months. And many have lost jobs, many have lost their livelihoods, and some have even lost loved ones. And one day, when this virus is just a distant memory, there will still be things in this life, obstacles, both spiritually and physically, that cause us to be in pain, cause us fear, or just make life difficult. But just like in this passage, those who are with us are greater than those who are with them. We have somebody to lean on. We have a God who is abundantly strong, infinitely gracious, constantly in control, and absolutely determined to give us a home in eternity. The world can throw everything it has at us, and believe me, it will. But in the end, we know we've already won. It may not feel like it all the time. There are some times when our human nature overtakes us, and we lose sight of the fact that we have a God that is completely in control. And even in those times that we are fearful and we doubt, God is always there for us. And He's always there for us to turn to. He's never lost sight of you, and He will always be there to pick you up. And so I guess that's my message today. When things seem hopeless and life seems to be giving you all it's got, we know that He who is with us is greater than whatever is in the world.